Good afternoon. We have the difficult task of, I think, waking all of you up. So good afternoon. Little more energy in the room, all of you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm blinking too rapidly. These lights are really, really aggressive, so I'm sure all three of us will face that. But thanks for the time, Ritu, here. I have the opportunity of being on the same panel with two very legendary individuals. So both Vaidi and Pawan come with extensive experience in the e-commerce space, and I myself have spent time in retailing, but obviously not on the e-commerce side. What I intend to do, therefore, is start this session with about 15 minutes of a presentation which generally covers some landscape around how consumers are changing, and allow that to be a backdrop for us to get into a conversation and then leave it open for all of you to ask questions as well, right? So, okay, great. So, you sure you can't get a mic? Yeah. Great. Okay. So one of the things that I see common in offline retail and e-commerce is obviously the kind of customer relationships that you can establish, the kind of data you pick up from consumers, and you could call it CRM. A lot of times, traditionally, this whole space is called CRM, but CRM is also a lot about that whole joke about blind men and elephant, where everyone seems to have his own impression of what CRM actually means. So really what I would like to call it is customer-driven marketing, and as long as you're focused on the customer, how do you get your marketing to perform? That really is the focus of what I want to talk about. And then clearly, whether it's an online business or an offline business, clearly the customer truly is number one, but how often do we in our business on a daily basis take calls around that? So if I'm a retailer, is my return policy exactly fitted the way a consumer wants it? Do I actually do things which are really, really customer-centric? Are questions which obviously need to come up. And having said that, I think one of the things as a trend which I'm seeing is that consumers, as they walk into your stores, as they come online, they start leaving behind huge amounts of data. Every action they take or don't take actually leaves you with data. And over the years, our feeling is that data equity and the ability to be able to use powerfully the data that you get will actually be even more powerful than brand equity. So I think the value of such a engagement really brings me to the concept of what services marketing is all about. Very different from having a product, making a good product in the factory, and then going out and building a service around it. Because when you have a service, which is what retailers have, it tends to be a sum of many parts. So how you delivered the product, how your website was, if it's a physical store, how were you treated when you walked in, all these are equally, if not more important than purely the brand. Question to ask, therefore, is that as a new industry starts to develop, as e-commerce starts to catch on, are people building brands or are they building the service relationship? And that becomes particularly critical in the retail business because consumers are fickle and loyalty is at a premium. And therefore, if you build that relationship, you can take it from there. So maybe what we could do, gentlemen, if you're okay, is I could start with one question, right? How do you see the space evolving? You're seeing a lot of different models out there. You have people like the Snapdeals, people like Flipkarts who are building a model which seems to be like the Amazon at one side and the coupons.com the other side, where you're going in there, investing huge amounts of money, and then expecting that to be a profitable business. So let's start with you, Vaidi. Does that seem to make sense from the kind of trends that you are seeing in the market? What is your thinking on this?
From my point of view, I think it's a very high-risk business, and one of the risks of copying an Amazon model in India is that people who do that miss out a very important fact and a big benefit and an advantage that Amazon had. They were the first to set up an online retail store by selling books. I think it was 95. And nobody had a clue what they were doing. And before even people figured out, it took 3 years that this is what they were doing. So I think they had the benefit of time. Then they managed to capitalize the business by doing a public offering. And fortunately for them, and I use the word very carefully here, fortunately for them, there was a dot-com bust. A dot-com bust essentially knocked out all competition. So in essence, they built a business which was unique. By being the first, they understood it more than anybody else. They had money in the bank. and they had an open virgin territory because all other competition got knocked out by the bust. And I think that that combination of being the first, deep knowledge that they had gained over 3 years of consumer behavior online, capital and time allowed them to build a business that is almost impossible to replicate by anybody else in the world. And I think anybody who's any entrepreneur anywhere, and it's just not an India problem, I think it's a problem everywhere, that if people now start an e-commerce company hoping to replicate the Amazon model, they will have neither the, certainly they won't have the benefit of time. They may have the benefit of capital. And to me, between the two, if I had to pick money and time, I would pick time over money any day. And I think the time is at a premium, time is not available. And thereby, I have serious doubts whether that model will result in the success. And the word success I'm using very carefully here because different people have different parameters of success. So if the purpose is to build a robust, profitable, financially successful model that can scale on its own, that can stand on its own feet, and in a sense deal with any competitors that come in, competitors such as Amazon coming in and they're able to deal with it, then I have my own doubts. But if the purpose of the business is to build very strong, let me use the word valuation here, and then make it attractive for somebody to acquire the business, then perhaps success is possible.
Any business which has a gross profit negative, the product which you are buying is not in profit at the gross level. Forget about the operating expenses. I don't think that will ever succeed. And we as a company has always been very focused in doing this, and March 2013, I think we'll end up something around 60 crores and we make a healthy net out of this entire business. So, for me, no. So, we Ferns and Petals, we have so far, I would say, not even spent something around 2-5 lakhs, maybe not even 5 lakhs in the entire 10 years of our journey in terms of advertisement. So, how did we do it? So, I'm talking about 2002, 2003. So, at that point of time, when somebody came to us and told us, can you send flowers to Mumbai today and can you do it through a computer? We said, yes, we'll have to buy a computer. We didn't have one at that point of our office. So, we bought a computer and we dialed that internet connection. If you remember, that was pretty,
yes.
And then the line connecting. And we got our first order. The next day it became 10 orders through another shopping sites, not us, of course. So, we realized, hey, there's money to be made out of this business. So, we went to other shopping sites. We added a lot of other shopping sites. And then we said, we need to put up our own site. So, at that point of time, our site used to be www.ferns, FERNSNPETALS. I'm sure half of you would not be able to type it correctly. People ended up typing fernsandpetals.com. So, we started from there. And the entire thing was absolutely manual compared to what it is today. So, then we realized we have to get more traffic on our site because the shopping sites were taking out the maximum of the commission, like our friend Vaiti here. So, we wanted to create our own brand, but then we didn't have money to invest into it. So, what did we do? So, we went out to wherever there were customers out there, whether it is online or offline. We didn't differentiate. We went to all the banks and said them, hey, we'll give you an offer for people who will buy on fernsandpetals.com. So would you be able to pass on this offer to the customers? So on statement inserts, on envelopes, on their emailers, we were able to propagate our brand.
So definitely, I think there are questions around how do you attribute metrics for success of the marketing that you do on the web. You know, there are different channels that you use to communicate, to run your campaigns. How do you bring it all back and actually create the infrastructure, the back end, to not just recognize the customer, but to measure them as well. So the question really here is that how do you therefore see the whole technology and the whole area of trying to make the customer experience online? How do you see it different from offline? Because sometimes in an offline situation, as a retailer, you may say, okay, I would not have more than X number of cashier points, maybe because of operational reasons, right? Maybe that's a choice that you make in a physical retail store. When you're online, there are other considerations that you have to follow, but finally the customer experience, if it is not superior, it will not bring back consumers again to you. So how do you deal with this whole area of bringing in appropriate technology and powering the customer experience to make it something which is powerful? Vaidhi, any?
The key difference between an offline retailer and an internet retailer is in the fact that offline retailers have limited shelf space. Their business is built on yield per square centimeter of shelf space. Internet retailers don't have a problem. Offline retailers are focused on selling bestsellers because that's what turns around the cash for them. because they can't store everything. Online retailers primarily build profitability on clearly the long tail, and the long tail is a big story that is known to everybody, so I'm not going to repeat that. So I think the advantage, and that is where the technology comes in, I think online retailers need to build systems, technologies, and process that allows the website to be configured to an individual consumer, which an offline retailer can never ever do.
Right.
To answer your question, the original one here is that a retail space will always have limited shelf. Very amply pointed it out. And on online, you can say, for example, the moment a customer sees a red rose bouquet, you can show him color options. Instead of red, would you want to do a pink or a yellow? Or for that matter, instead of 12, would you want to do a 24 or 50? And would you want to choose any of these delivery options? Or for that matter, you like this bouquet. If you like this bouquet, you might also like these. So the kind of technology which is available today and the integration which is possible and the possibilities here is endless. It's a matter of one's imagination and the resourcefulness as to how is one able to point out to the customer as to what all he might want. And once he comes on a product, then you can offer him with flowers. Would you also want to buy chocolate, soft toy, cake? And the